going to show you how to work our lace section of the hat. You'll see that it creates these little X's or little butterflies, and it's a symmetrical lace pattern. So we start off working 1, 2, 3 rows, and then we reverse those 3 rows to end. Okay, so it makes it symmetrical. So now let's go ahead and get our crown. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to join with a slip stitch, and all that is you go into the next space, grab the yarn, pull through, and then pull through that's on the hook. And at this point we can take out our stitch marker for right now. Now to tell which side is the right side of the fabric, you'll see how one side looks like there's circles and rings, and then you look on the other side and it almost looks like a swirling pattern, a flower. This swirling flower is on the wrong side. The circles, the rings, are the right side. So what we're going to start off with, which is we're going to chain 4. And this counts as the first double crochet and chain 1. We're going to skip 1 space and work a double crochet in the next space. For a double, we're going to wrap the yarn around our hook, insert the hook into the stitch, pull up a loop for 3 loops on the hook, wrap our yarn around, bring it through 2 loops, wrap our yarn around again, and go through the last 2 loops. Then we chain 1, we're going to skip 1, and then work another double crochet. Okay, so we chain 1, skip 1, wrap the yarn around, go in, bring up a loop, go through 2 loops, go through 2 loops, and chain 1. You're going to do this all the way around the row, and I'll show you how to join when we get to the end. Okay, so I've worked around the row. I do one more chain 1, and now I'm going to join it into the first chain 4 space. You want to go towards the top, and we're going to join with a slip stitch. Now you'll see how my work is kind of making like a bowl. We want to just flip the work the other way so that the curve is on the inside like a normal hat would be. Okay, so just flip it around so that the right side will be facing you. Now there is a typo in the pattern that I had emailed. So for row 18, the repeat should end after it says chain 2. It should be skip 1 double crochet, and then you go back to the beginning of the repeat. So what we're going to do, and we're also going to learn a 5 DC cluster. I'll show you how to do that. We're going to start off by chaining 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to skip the first space. You should have 40 spaces after you work row 17. So we're skipping the first space, and we're going to do a 5 double crochet cluster in the next double crochet. So the way that we do that is we wrap our yarn around and go in just like we do with a double crochet, and we're going to pull up 2 loops. Okay, we're going to wrap around and go into the same stitch, pull up another loop, and go through another 2 loops. We're going to do this again. We wrap around, go in, pull up a loop, wrap around, go through 2. Do it again, wrap around, go in, pull up a loop, go through 2. We want to end up with 6 loops on our hook. So we're going to do it one more time. We wrap around, we go in, we go through 2, and now we're going to go through all 6 loops. And what I like to do is when I wrap around, I point my hook down, and the back end of the hook, I start lifting up. So as I pull it through, I lift the back of the hook up, and then it just kind of comes through all of those loops. Then we're going to chain 2. We are going to skip the next space and the next double crochet, and we're going to double crochet in the following space. Okay. Now we're going to chain 2, and here's where the typo is. you should skip one double crochet and work your cluster again in the next one so that you have a single crochet, a double crochet skipped between. So we do our last double crochet, chain 2, and now we're going to do our cluster again in the second double crochet. So we wrap around, go through 2, wrap around, go in, pull up 1, go through 2, wrap around, pull up another one, go through 2. I'm going to do that 2 more times. Wrap, go in, go through 2, last time. And then we pull up through all 6, chain 2, skip the space, skip the double crochet, work a double crochet in the space, chain 2, and then skip a double crochet. Work your cluster in the next one. So you'll see that there's a space on either side of our 5 double crochet cluster. You're going to repeat this all the way around. Your last repeat you're going to end after you do the 5 double crochet cluster, chain 2, and I'll show you how to join. Okay, so I have gone around and I'm going to join with a slip stitch in the top of the chain 5 that we began with. And you'll notice that you have 14 little double crochet clusters. Okay, so now let's go on to the next row. And on this row, you're going to be doing a treble cluster. Okay, I'll show you how to do that. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to, for row 19, we're going to chain 1 and then we're going to single crochet into the chain 2 space that's right next to us. So we single crochet. And then we are going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to do a treble, 2 treble cluster in the same space. So for trebles, what you do is we wrap the yarn around the needle, the hook twice. So you wrap it around twice. We go into the space, pull up a loop, wrap around, go through 2 loops, go through 2 more loops. Wrap around twice, go into the stitch, pull up a loop, go through 2 loops, 2 loops, and then go through all 3 loops. And you'll actually see it looks like you'll have 3 little lines here. This is our chain. This is the first half of the treble. This is the second half of the treble. If you've ever worked a treble crochet decrease, that's pretty much what this is, except we're doing it all in the same stitch as opposed to decreasing over 2 stitches. So once we have done that, we are going to skip the cluster and we're going to skip the next double crochet, and in the next space we are going to do another treble cluster. So we wrap around twice and then we go in, we pull up a loop, go through 2 loops, go through 2 loops, wrap around twice, go in, go through 2 loops, 2 loops, and then 3 loops, and then we are going to chain 3, and then we're going to single crochet in the same space. So basically we've made a mirror image. This is one of the bottom halves of our little butterfly or crosses. So now we are going to chain 9, 3, 4, and we're going to skip the next cluster and we're going to skip the next double crochet and we're going to chain 2 in the next space, and then we're going to repeat it. So we've done a single crochet, now we're going to chain 3, we're going to work our treble cluster, 1, 2, wrap around twice, go in, 1, pull through. Then we skip the next cluster, skip the next double crochet, do another treble cluster in the chain 2 space, chain 3, single crochet same space, and then we chain 9. You're going to repeat this. We just did 2 repeats, so you're going to repeat it 5 more times. You're going to end with a little something different. So I'm going to work the rest of the round and I'm going to show you how to end. Once you work around, get to the last, instead of chaining 9, you're going to chain 4 at the very end. So let me work around and I'll show you what we're going to do. Okay, so I have just worked the last treble cluster. I've chained 3. I've done a single crochet. I'm going to chain 4 instead of 9 for this last one. And then I'm going to do a treble crochet in the first single crochet of the round. So to do a normal treble, we wrap around twice like we've been doing, go into the stitch, pull up a loop, go through 2 loops, 2 loops, 2 loops, and then the row is finished. And you'll see that this chain 4 and the treble make the same size as our chain 9 loops. Okay, the next video will have the next 3 rounds of the lace pattern.